Hi guys, this is Miss Amy here, and we are going to make garden roses today. Hope you guys are all doing well. Look inside your pottery kits and you'll find your hunk of clay that's designated garden rose, and you'll also find your garden rose templates. Now on the sizes here, we have small all the way up to very large. Today, I'm gonna go ahead and make the smaller one just for the demo purpose, and it won't take quite as long, but you can make garden roses of all these different sizes. Remember, you've got your clay, your extra clay in the bags from your other projects, and you can use that clay also to make the garden roses, all right? So I'm gonna start first by cutting out my template, and again, I'm gonna go with probably just a little bit smaller one. So I'm just gonna cut out my circle, and this is what I'm gonna use for my pattern. I'm anxious to hear what you guys are making. If you guys want to post photos in the YouTube comment section, I'd love to see some photos of what you guys are making. All right, so I'm gonna grab my garden rose clay, and I'm gonna be wild and adventurous today. I'm not gonna use my dowels. Dum, dum, dum. I'm gonna use just the rolling pin because we need pretty thin clay for this. I'm gonna just start rolling. I'm gonna go slow. I don't wanna be super aggressive and then get it paper thin, but I do wanna get this a little bit thinner than our typical 1/4 inch. I want this to be on the thinner side. So once we get rolled, we can slab it on the table. Hopefully you guys are getting good practice at this too. Again, we don't want it to be so thin that it'll tear, but this is gonna be probably one of the thinner projects that we do. If you guys can see, get a feel for how thin that is. All right, so now I'm gonna take my little rewards card, the plastic card, and I'm gonna butter my bread. I don't know if I've used that term yet this week. It's kind of like spreading jam or butter on a piece of toast. It's silly, but it actually is an important concept in pottery because we've rolled that clay out, right, with the roller. We've also slabbed it out, and we've stretched the clay particles far apart, and it's weakened the clay. So this is called buttering your bread because I'm pressing and I'm compressing the clay particles back together and making sure that it's going to be stronger and less likely to crack. If you go back to school next year and tell your art teacher buttering your bread, she might not know what you're talking about, but she might, because a lot of teachers in the area I've worked with a lot of them over the years. All right, so now I've got my circle, and I'm gonna cut out 9, if I think I'm correct. Yeah, 9 circles, okay, of the same size. So this is gonna take a little time. I'm gonna play some music, and while I cut these out, and you guys can watch. Now guys, what I'm gonna also do is with this extra clay around the sides, I'm gonna cut just by freehand a couple leaf shapes. Of different sizes. All right, this is magic. Watch what happens. I just lift this up and all my shapes stay where they are. And I'm gonna crumple this back up and use it for my next rose. But I am gonna put it back in my bag to keep it from drying out. All right. So now I've gotta get each of these circles, 9 circles, smooth, and my 3 leaves smooth really well. Always love the design that it leaves on the table that you're working on. So this is gonna take some time too. We might fast forward this when we look back at this video. But I am smoothing this and thinning the edge. Really pressing that edge to make it thin. Doing both the front and the back.
Okay, stop.
home stretch. We're gonna do this last circle, and then we'll do our leaves. And again, kind of thinning those out just a little bit, maybe not as thin as the circles, but for sure softening the edges. On both sides. So I've got my 3 leaves and my 9 circles. Now the first thing I'm going to do is take, is that a good spot? Good. I'm going to take this circle and curl it around. You guys can see what's happening on the inside there. Curling that in.
Move it a little closer to you.
And curling that around.
There you go.
And I've just got this nice little curly piece. This is going to make the center of our rose. Now, I want to have my scoring tool close. I'm going to scratch and score. The bottom of the circle and the bottom of the piece. And I'm going to very carefully lay those on. And if you guys can see what's happening there, press. Don't worry, there'll be lots of opportunities. I've got lots of leaves to attach. But I want to make sure that clay is attached there. And I'm going to pull this out just a little bit. And then I'm going to pinch it with just my fingers just like that. I'm going to pinch that. Okay. Then we'll go around to the next area, scratch and score. Scratch the bottom of what will be the petal. And I'm going to add that, press it in, pull it out like that, and then with my fingers, pinch that to a little bit of a V, just a little bit. Okay. And we're going to keep going around. When we almost have all these done, you can decide on these last few where you need to fill in this rose. Like, is he a little heavier with petals? But I tried to alternate those from side to side. So on this last one, I think I need something over here. So I'll add that last one right there. And again, we kind of pull them down and out and give it a little bit of a V. So you've got a nice little garden rose here. So we will go ahead and set this aside for right now. What I'm doing with the bottom is just kind of pinching that all together, making sure there's no air inside there. And then I'm also pounding it so it sits flat on the table. So now we're going to make the roses, or the leaves. And I'm going to use my skewer to put the veins inside these leaves. So I'm just going to wet the skewer and slide that down the middle of my 3 leaves. And then I'm going to take that skewer and make those little lines. And these are a little deep. They don't exactly look like perfect leaf veins, but that's okay because by the time we glaze these guys, these lines fill up a little bit, and then they look more realistic. If I have any oopsies like that, I just smooth it off with my finger. Clay is so forgiving that way. And then I can decide where I want these leaves to go by kind of just placing them before I attach them and deciding where I want to put those. What I want to do before I put the leaves on is take my dowel or maybe the back end of a brush and go ahead and push that in just a little bit and wiggle around to make a little bit of a hole so that dries fast and doesn't explode. I'm going to then scratch and score the leaf and the rose body and kind of bend that around too. A leaf wouldn't be perfectly flat. I want to make sure I really connect those well, smear them in. And then maybe I'll put the last one. I lost my line a little bit, so I'll just redraw it. There we go. Put my last one coming around that way. And then smearing that in to make sure it's secure. All right, so we've got a little garden rose. And then you can continue on with the rest of your clay to make some more.